Hey, everybody, welcome. This is Bob with a conversation about the Jersey Drone Show. If you can believe it, today I'm joined again by Rob from Your
Hey
Most
everyone.
Interesting Story podcast. There he is. Hey. And there's a little, got to get the plugs in early, Rob. While people, first 3 seconds, you get 3 seconds on YouTube and then they're out. So there you go.
It's about their minds
Uh,
are fresh.
that's right. It's all about the shorts. It's all about the shorts. Rob's here with me again. We're going to talk about all the hubbub that is surrounding the happenings in New Jersey here lately, right? So,
New
hmm,
Jersey drones.
the New Jersey Drone Show. I always think, I thought that sounded kind of like a spinoff from the Jersey Shore to me.
I've never seen
Uh,
that show.
I never watched it. I mean, I just know of it because it's a pop culture
Yeah,
phenomenon. I don't think I've ever actually watched an episode. I mean, I've seen it online and in the social feeds and all that kind of stuff from way back when, early social feeds. I'm assuming 'cause I can't remember what year it started, but I've seen it online, but I've never really watched the show.
I've heard
But
some of the characters. That's about as far as I get.
yeah, there's Snooky and Jay somebody and
Uh-huh.
the situation, and I think the situation is appropriate character name for the Jersey Drone Show.
There definitely is a situation.
We have a situation. Exactly. Instead of Houston, we have a problem. We say Jersey, we have a situation. So yeah. Now I always ebb and flow on these things. So for the other topics that we've covered, right? So Dogman, Kentucky
Mothman.
Kentucky Goblins, right? Yeah, Mothman, and then the Thunderbird.
Mm-hmm.
I've drawn from my, vast and varied from last show knowledge about these things,
Yeah.
and so I was a little torn. Should I, you're the researcher, I would say, between the two of us.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you're Rob and not Bob again, because R for researcher, and then B for baloney. I don't know what that part would be, but I kind of did a half-hearted effort to read a little bit. Only here was my criteria: if it's in the feed and I see it, I'll take a look at it.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. I didn't like go seeking out things. But I will tell you, as we go along here, I do have experience with larger drones.
You do.
Yeah.
So you have
We'll,
somewhat of
we'll
an expert opinion.
well, no, an amateur opinion, but I do have some anecdotal information
Okay.
from my own personal, you know, experiences,
Mm-hmm.
which you have no knowledge of.
I'm looking forward to gaining that knowledge. And
We'll
just so
see if
you
it
know,
comes into play here.
I'm not sure. I probably have not been within physical distance of a drone less than a couple hundred yards, I would guess. I've never seen one in
Mm,
action in real life.
really?
Yeah, never.
How interesting. Well, I will tell you. So this is the interesting thing about the Jersey Drone Show is everybody keeps calling them drones, and yet on my cursory, readings, I'm not sure all of them are drones.
Now, and that kind of leads me into we want to move into the quiz.
Do you want me to go straight to quiz? Sure.
Well, I'm just thinking because we're going to cover some of the topics potentially that you would just bring up. There could be some related questions. We can kind of spin off on the individual
Okay. Well, let's
quiz.
go.
All right, let's do it.
Jersey Drones quiz. There we go.
The Jersey Drones
Might go
quiz.
over your head. You're
They
very
might.
clever.
They
Yeah.
might keep your eyes skyward.
Clever,
All
clever,
right.
clever.
Are you ready to get now?
I'm ready when you are, researcher.
Let's refresh folks because was it the Dogman quiz that you crushed? And then
Yeah.
kind of fumbled a bit on the Thunderbird quiz.
Thunderbird was abysmal compared
Mhm.
compared to even the goblins. I did really
You
quite
did,
well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Very good, yeah. So let's hope for a bit of a rebound on the drones quiz.
Yeah, maybe not.
We'll see. We'll see if it doesn't take me 5 minutes to properly present the drones quiz.
That's okay. It's all part of the show.
Part of it is.
It's all part of your ticket price.
It's some sort of digital slapstick, perhaps. All right. So I think I've got this figured out. I'm going to roll right in here to the first question. Oh, there we go.
Boy. Yeah.
All right. So I will go ahead for those who are not following along with the video version. I'll go ahead and read the question and the potential answers. It's multiple choice as usual. And then Bob, you'll guess and we will reveal the correct answer. Which of these is not a theory about the purpose of these unidentified Jersey drones? A, military exercises. B, our, meaning U.S. tech, monitoring alien orbs. C, aliens themselves surveilling us. Or D, Jay Leno's latest hobby.
So you kind of flipped it here. It's not.
Which of these is
it's
not
a theory. So I've heard the theory of military.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard the theory of alien surveillance and orbs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll have to go with Jay Leno's latest hobby. None of these things have a Hemi in them, as far as I know. And so I don't think he'd be interested.
You never know. He might be extending his interests as he gets older. Getting more...
he did fall down a hill recently, so therefore maybe he would like to have a drone.
He could have been flying a drone and looking up.
Yeah.
Remember our motto or our tagline for the show? Keep your eyes to the sky.
Was that our tagline?
Well, no, for this particular episode, maybe it is.
Oh, okay. I thought that was just a theory. Don't panic. I thought that was okay.
All right, you're exactly right. It is not Jay Leno's latest hobby. Per anyone's theory is not saying that's Jay Leno's latest hobby. So you're already starting off.
You ever see the Jay Leno's he was on Bill Maher's show, podcast, whatever you want to call it, and he was telling some interesting stories.
Yeah,
Jay Leno. Yeah, everybody should catch it. It's called, what is Bill Maher's thing called? It's called, Down in the Dungeon. I can't remember what they call it, but it's one of those Bill Maher show, and look it up. And he was recently on and had some pretty wild tales to tell himself.
I need to get him on your most interesting story, because if he's got interesting stories.
Oh yeah, you should hit him. I don't know,
I'll see Bill if Maher's, I still got it.
Bill Maher's a little, he's probably got more money. I'm just saying.
I may still have his cell phone somewhere. I don't know.
Good.
Yeah. Jay and I go.
If nothing that a well-researched internet search couldn't find out for you.
I'm honing my researching skills with my new AI assistants, as we covered in the last episode.
Yeah.
All right, that was good. See, you're starting out like a house of fire.
I know. Well, this one was a little,
Well,
the knot, especially since you made it capital. Because if you would have just glazed over it, I would have been like, ah.
That's to help me when I read, so I know what word to emphasize.
Okay.
All right, question number 2. In addition to drones, witnesses have also seen these in the sky, sometimes interacting with the drones.
Right.
A, orbs. And those that have been paying attention to the podcast to this point may know the answer to this one. B, thunderbirds. C, angels. Or D, the flying Wallendas.
Flying Wallendas. Do people even remember who the flying Wallendas were?
But right now they are rapidly tapping on their keyboards, or they're using their thumbs on their cell phones to try to figure out.
You could have also used the Flying Burrito Brothers, if you've ever.
Probably a more limited chance of the audience understanding who those folks were.
Now, if you want to squeeze it down further, there's a thing called the Flying Tomato Brothers.
There is.
Yeah, you know who they are, and I know who they are. Yeah.
I do. Another Midwestern reference.
It's very Midwestern, yeah. So, and it's totally fallen off a cliff, by the way. Don't go there. So I would say A, orbs.
Ding, 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 ding.
I like, not only do you get a point, you get a thumbs up at the same time. That's a very interesting
finger indicating the correct answer. You get a thumb.
Yeah.
Well, if you get it wrong, I won't have time.
That's okay. That's okay. That was just an observation.
Consider like a thumb in the eye if you don't get the question right. That's what the thumb will be at that point.
Gotcha.
All right. So you're rolling now. You really, the Jersey
the easy
Drone
ones,
show.
I've got it. Yeah.
The pressure's off.
I'm about as good as the situation here at this point.
I'll take your word for that. Okay. Now we're getting a little bit more difficult here, but this is still pretty straightforward. Okay. The acronym NHI is often used in association with these drones. What does it stand for? What does NHI stand for?
NHI.
National Homeland Incident, Non-Human Intelligence, never heard of it, nerds, hobbyists, and invertebrates.
You got two funny ones in this question here. C and D are very funny. The interesting thing is A seems very, very likely, but I believe it's B, non-human intelligence.
Final answer?
Final answer.
You don't want to phone a friend.
Who would I phone?
I don't know. Maybe
I could yell out the hallway here. But
someone in the near vicinity will know. You are correct. It is non-human intelligence.
Oh yeah, NHI. I never heard it referred to as NHI. It's like PHI, right? Like PHI, NHI, all that good kind of stuff. So
maybe what kind of human intelligence is PHI?
Well, PHI would be personal health information, but that's
okay.
I mean, but it's just similar acronym.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Yeah.
It's got two of the same letters.
Yeah, exactly.
So this kind of broadens the concept of alien, right? Because some folks believe, well, maybe they're not necessarily aliens. Maybe they've been here. Maybe they were here before us. Right?
And the interesting thing that you mentioned about that, and we're going to spin off a tangent real quick, is that really hasn't been part of the vernacular until 2017. Mm-hmm. So everybody just referred to them as aliens before, and now they're talking about biologics, non-human intelligence,
interdimensional
beings, and all that stems from the big New York Times, Washington Post stuff in 2017.
Oh, enlighten me.
So in 2017, New York Times released an article online along with videos from the Navy, I believe. So this Tic Tac video and all that kind of stuff. And along with that, then came Lou Elizondo, came David Grush, came David Graves, not David Graves. What's his other name? I can't remember his first name. No, it wasn't Peter Graves. Your mission, if you choose to take it. Anyways, last name's Graves, and then David Fravor. But anyway, they talked like that. They brought these acronyms into the forefront. Now, they may have been used prior in maybe like really esoteric kind of insider stuff, but not in the public, public knowledge. And so all these things came in, just like instead of UFO, right, we have UAP. All that came about to the forefront in around 2017.
More acronyms to add to your acronym chart.
I know, which I will forget. Exactly.
All right. Good job. You're definitely.
What am I doing? I'm 3 for 3 here.
You're 3 for 3.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
In which U.S. state or states did a very similar drone experience occur in late 2019 and early 2020?
Right.
California and Oregon, Florida, Colorado and Nebraska, or D, the state of intoxication?
D is always, it's like an all of the above kind of an answer there, I think. But It could be, well, we don't know. It could have been all of them and it just wasn't as widely reported, but I'm going to go with A, California and Oregon. Oh my gosh. Are you
Colorado?
sure?
Yes, I am
Okay.
sure. I am sure. In fact, I can give you a little bit of a rundown of exactly what happened here because in 2019, early 2020, Colorado experienced a series of mysterious drone sightings that bear similarities to the recent events in New Jersey. Between December
Interesting.
2019 and January 2020, typically flying between 7 and 10 p.m., about 200 to 500 feet above the ground. Local law enforcement, FBI, yada, yada, yada. And then it eventually sort of slowed down, stopped, and that was just about it. It's never been solved.
Really?
Yep, never been. No one really knows where they were, what they were. In total, 90 drone sightings are reported in Colorado to November. I'm sorry, in Colorado from November to January, with 14 identified only of those 90 as smaller size hobbyist drones.
Now, I swear in my, read it if you see it, I saw something about California and Oregon having very similar thing happen, like last year, a couple of years ago.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But
No, I did.
But you're looking at, you've got specific data. So,
Well, when I had my AI assistant go out,
mine's
I did
very
ask them.
vague.
I did tell them to go out and check out the Colorado sightings because I'd heard of that referenced in my other research, but I did not ask specifically about any other states. So maybe there was something else there that I didn't pick up on in my very extensive research.
Right. Yeah, I know. You spent the whole holiday season researching, I think. Yeah.
Actually, I tumbled into the Reddit rabbit hole for an extended period of time. Yeah, this is before we decided to do the show, and that's why I felt qualified
that's why you said, "Oh yeah, we'll do that."
Yeah, let's do that. I've got a lot of built-up theories and information relayed by who knows whether the sources are valid or not.
Now, this may be a good point for me to insert a drone story, if you'd like to hear it.
Yeah, go for it.
Because you mentioned 200 feet to 500 feet, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and did they have any idea where these drones came from? Did they ever figure that out in the Colorado, Nebraska thing?
I don't believe they did.
Okay.
They only 14 of them had been identified as hobbyist drones, and I guess that would, if you do the quick math, 66 of them. If I did the math correctly, no, 90. That would be 76 of them were never identified.
So, but the interesting thing is, so I've had what I would call a municipal drone. Can we call it that?
You can call it that.
Okay. I don't know what you would call it, but it would be like a sheriff's department drone.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if people realize this or not, but nowadays, now, which we're talking about drones now, so it's relevant. A lot of municipalities have drones for detecting speeding on roadways. And radar drones, exactly. And so I won't give away my location or anything, but I live near an area where people are worried about speeding, not that close to me, but close enough.
Mm-hmm.
And one evening, I had a drone fly over my house, and it was way lower than 200 feet. I can tell you that right now, because it just came over the treetops, which would probably be around 60 feet, I would guess. And it was it was nighttime, and I'm assuming, because it did not have red and green lights, it only had orangish lights on it, and it flew right over my house. And I'm assuming it was a 4-propeller drone.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like one you would get, for hobbyists or whatever, but bigger, much bigger. And it came over my house. I'm assuming it was going somewhere to be recharged or something, because we're not that close to anything. But we are in the path to something that you would probably want to monitor. And and I happened to catch it. Now, you're going to say, well, how in the world did you catch this?
How in the world did you catch this?
Oh, thank you, Rob, for asking me. So there's an app on you can get on your phone or your iPad or whatever, and it is called Flight Tracker 24, Flight Radar 24. Flight Radar 24.
Flight Radar 24.
Right. And so I found this app a while ago, and at certain times, when certain weather conditions, planes fly over the house going into land in St. Louis.
Hmm.
And there's times where if you go out at night, you can see, lights lined up like it's a highway of planes coming in to go land at Lambert International Airport, which is nowhere near me. So I got this thing and I was watching all the flights that would come over. And so what would happen is we'd be sitting, in the living room having family time or whatever. And I would just, oh, there goes a plane. Look it up. What plane is that? Oh, that's Southwest, whatever. Or that's United Airlines. And so it just got to be kind of a little fun thing. And my son heard something. He goes, what's that plane? And I said, I don't know. Let me look it up. And it doesn't register because the drones don't register on the flight radar. Because they don't fly high enough. And so, and they're not necessarily registered in the same way. And they don't have a transponder. And so I go, it's not showing up. So we go to the door and look outside, and this thing comes buzzing over the top of the trees and over the house.
Living by our tagline, keeping your eye to the sky.
Keeping your eye to the sky. That's right. For this, I gotta make a thing for that now.
Right. Now you said you're making a theory that it's a sheriff's drone.
I'm theorizing it's the sheriff's drone because of where it was coming from and where it was going to.
Okay. Didn't have like a sheriff's hat on it or a badge.
No, it wasn't daylight. It was nighttime. So all I could see was lights, and all we could hear was, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't. So that was interesting. Now some people, this is why it's so interesting about the Jersey Drone Show is, everybody goes into flights of fancy, but I don't think that average everyday folks realize how many drones are in service for their government. And not just like federal government. I mean, just like local governments, because they replaced, Cessnas flying over the highway with these things.
Mm-hmm.
And they've had them for probably a decade. And so when they see lights in the sky, a lot of times it's just this. It's not anything, nefarious or anything foreign or anything. It's just, trying to generate money for, your local police department.
It's your friendly neighborhood sheriff's drone.
Yeah. And so, but all these things kind of came together because of this kind of weird, it's almost like train spotting, except I'm plane spotting. And the other weird thing is, so you should get it just for fun.
I should, yes.
And you can look above, you can look anywhere in the country actually and see where planes are. Not just where you're at, but anywhere. So a lot of times I'll track, like my daughter came in from California. I tracked her flight all the way across the country.
Yeah.
And so, it's just kind of a weird hobby. And if you kind of get into it a little bit, you'll find out that the world is not what you think it is, because a lot of planes don't have transponders.
And what do you think's going on there?
I don't know.
There's no information about them.
But I watch planes go over my house that don't have a transponder because they don't show up on the flight tracker.
Do they circle your house?
Hundreds of thousands of planes. No, there's an Air Force base outside of St. Louis, and a lot of the Air Force planes do not tell you where they're at.
Right. That makes sense.
As well as Air Force One and Air Force Two.
Mm-hmm. That makes even more sense.
They'll tell you where they're at once they're there and they're known, but coming and going, they disappear.
Yep, I can see why.
Yeah, these security things.
All right, you ready to
Anyway,
move on
that's
to the
my
next?
yeah. I'm ready to move on.
That's a good story. That so I still will I'll repeat what I said earlier. Then you have some firsthand drone knowledge, which is going to make you
Yeah.
even more
Uh,
dangerous in these
Oh,
in this
I've
quiz.
got another one, but let's move forward
Okay.
and we'll see where it
Okay.
can fit in.
All right. What characteristic of these drones do some debunkers, and when I say debunker, I mean, of course, the funnest thing from I
Hmm.
think both of our perspective is this is something that is would fall in sort of the paranormal, unexpected, unusual realm.
Hmm.
But debunkers of the more fun theories point to as proof they're not alien technology. A, the smell of gasoline exhaust as they fly by. B, dimmable incandescent lights. C, red and green lights in line with FAA regulations. Or D, Mariah Carey's Christmas classic, All I Want for Christmas, blasting out of tinny speakers.
Yeah, it's one of those flat. I can't. What do they call those flat speakers that are just got a couple wires on a piece of metal? What is that called?
A Radio Shack?
Yeah, no, but
It's the
I
one
can't remember. There's a name for it, but
okay.
anyway, I can't think of the name for it. But a lot of like cheap electronics and toys and things have those kind of speakers.
Right. Uh-huh.
This is a tough one. You have it marked as easy, but I would say this is not an easy one because of my story. Because the drone I saw did not have red and green lights, even though I think that
Right.
is the answer.
Right. That was, and this is where I've given you the badge of extra knowledge based on that your own drone experience. So we could bump this
Yeah,
one up to medium. We'll make this one a medium.
that's okay. You can keep it as easy. That's fine. But I would say C, green, red and green lights in line with FAA regulations. So
That's correct. Yes,
yeah.
indeed. Yeah. A lot of
But
the
I can tell you, and this may be my other drone story, that is not true.
Jersey drones.
I don't know about the Jersey drones, but it's not
Hmm.
true about the drones that I've experienced because I've experienced another drone.
Okay, now you've got to. So now you're holding back on us because before you said you'd experienced a single drone, and now we got two.
Oh, I don't know if I said single. I said
Oh, you get a
I
drone
said
story.
a four engine drone. This was a fixed wing drone.
NFWD,
Is that what would that be? Fixed
a
wing
fixed wing
drone?
drone. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, the whole flight tracker thing. I was watching that, and we heard a noise, and my son's like, "What plane is that?" And I get up to look, and again, coming from the direction of for speeders and everything, over my house was a drone that again only had orange lights, no red and greens, flying only at probably 100 feet. But it was not a quad; it was a fixed wing drone because
Hmm.
the again this is at night,
Yeah.
so I didn't get a clear view of it, but it was just two lights, and they were approximately 6 to 8 feet apart and again flew over the house
Orange
in
lights only, huh? Okay.
orange lights only. Yeah, orange lights only.
Well,
No red and green, no white lights, no nothing,
uh,
and they
all
weren't
right.
even that bright. Honestly, it you could have easily missed it. You
See, what
know.
you're doing now is you're debunking the debunkers.
But when it first went over, I'm like, well, what? Because this was actually the first one that I saw. The second one I saw was the quad, which I already mentioned, but this was the first one I saw. It went over and it was really quiet, not very loud at all, and it just had the orange lights and went over and it went over and was gone because there was no lights on the back. Because I went from the back of my house to the front of my house to see it,
Mhm. Hmm.
and it was gone in the dark. I could not see it, but I knew it was traveling in a straight line, and it just seemed like like a plane.
Any chance it was
One of
heading
those.
from Colorado to New Jersey?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. But
Okay.
the funny thing is, and this is going to make me laugh. I don't know if it'll make you laugh or not. But the funny thing is I told you we have an Air Force base in the area.
Hmm.
There is a billboard for fixed wing drones by Boeing over by the Air Force Base, and it's been there for years.
No,
they advertised military drones on the highway.
Oh, for when the people are driving into work,
where the Air Force people go to work.
Okay,
and it says Boeing, and it says something like Boeing first and something, and it's a picture of the Boeing drone, which is, if you've ever seen stuff online or whatever, the Boeing drone is, they have a fixed wing drone that can carry a payload, right? So carry a bomb, and it's large. So wingspan could be anywhere between 6 to 8, 9 feet. Yeah. Isn't that fun? And I've seen that billboard probably for a good 7, 8 years.
See, and I would say that makes sense because, as soon as they get into work, a lot of these workers, probably the ones making the purchasing decisions, as soon as they get into work, they drop their cell phone off in a locker, they get their issued laptop. So there's no way of hitting them with advertising once they're there in the office. So
Right.
how do you target these folks that make the purchase decisions on what type of drone to buy? Well, a billboard right on the highway as they drive into work.
Another, I'm putting my finger beside my nose. Another thing, that's the sting anyway.
I thought you were gonna go up the chimney or something.
Yeah, or go up the chimney. Is Boeing built a manufacturing plant next to the Air Force Base?
Interesting.
And they're not doing so well financially, but gosh darn it, they have a brand new manufacturing plant next to the Air Force Base. So go figure on that one.
Yeah. I still think, and I know we have had this conversation non-recorded, but I just find was I just watching the other day? It was probably it was the first Home Alone movie, and I'm looking at jets from the early 1990s, and we literally, like, commercial jets have not advanced at all in 30 years now, and I would have to think somebody's throttling back that technology, right? I mean, I can't think that there's no way we haven't advanced.
Oh no! Well, I may have another story for you before we end tonight.
Holy moly, you are like a Tom T. Hall. You know Tom T. Hall, the old storyteller?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Tom. Yeah, exactly. This is Tom T. Hall. Who used to do commercials for?
Watermelon. Some older person product.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh no, he did. Okay, anyway, I'll remember along the way here. But anyway, we'll move forward. Yeah, we'll move forward.
Good stories, though. Adding some color to this, adding some real world examples to this, to these sterile quiz questions.
Oh, they're not sterile. They're funny.
Oh, well, okay, but they're not real world. They're accumulations of assorted information. What characteristic has not, see a capital not again, been commonly reported in these recent drone sightings? What characteristics of the drones activities? A, abrupt changes in direction.
Okay.
B, hovering capabilities. C, formation flying. Or D, appearance in an Ozempic commercial.
Ask your doctor if Ozempic is right for you.
Do not take Ozempic if you're allergic to it. That's one of my favorite new points they have to say. Don't take this drug if you're allergic to it.
Yeah, how are you going to know?
I really don't know. And
most people who are allergic to pineapple are allergic to Ozempic.
That would give them a clue, right? That would even make the little readouts more interesting, make it into a bit of a, I don't know, info gathering thing. But anyway,
I think this is a tough one because obviously it's one of the first three, but which one?
No, you only need one that has not been commonly reported.
Oh, well, then it's Ozempic. I'm glad you put the not in there then.
Yes, the not. Yes. So all these others have been commonly reported.
So, see, I was dumb and wasn't reading the large print.
Well, you were being cautious in reading the footnote I've added.
I was reading the fine print. They're going to switch it up on everybody now. Everything that's big is going to be, the good stuff, and the fine print's going to be nothing. So,
I don't know. I signed way too many things without reading the fine print nowadays.
Well, if you work in technology and you sign EULAs, who knows what you're signing, for
Yeah.
Christ's sake?
Yeah. Right. I just go by the law of averages. Well, most people probably sign this. It looks like it's a pretty common document. They're probably okay.
I usually go with the fact that I'm actually not supposed to be signing it, and so therefore, if I sign it, it's null because I'm not the one that should be signing it anyway.
Just a quick notice: the conversation about the Jersey Drone Show is not intended to give legal advice
or
consult
prescribe Ozempic for you,
or drug recommendations. Please check with your doctor and
That's
or
right. Lawyer, legal representation,
legal representative. All right, very good. Okay, you're back on track.
Oh, phew.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. Oh, yeah, there we go. There's the nose picking finger.
There's the nose picking finger with the thumbs up. Not in your eye. It's up. Telling you, good job, Bob. Okay. What have witnesses claimed to have seen on some of these drones? A, the Amazon logo. B, strange symbols or markings.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say C? I meant B if I said
Yeah,
C.
well, that's okay. We'll
C,
flop them.
Political slogans and stickers. Or D, the ghost of Amelia Earhart.
Are we talking like Trump Vance or something like that when you slogans and stickers? Oh, this is a good one. The funny thing is, you have this and people say they've seen it, and I would say it's B, but I mean, unless it's during the day, I mean, it's hard to see anything that's of any distance in the sky. I mean, you can really only tell airline jets apart because of their color scheme.
Yeah, they've got to have a pretty predominant paint or a color.
Yeah, you can't see the United logo from the ground if it's up 10,000 feet. So
you could tell the UPS plane because there's packages falling out of it.
That's right. And the Amazon logo from A to Z, you could probably see that. Yeah.
You're right. Strange symbols and markings. Some witnesses have claimed to see those on the drones that they've.
Okay.
Right. So I think you've only missed one so far. This may be
so
the best
you've done.
Good.
Yeah. Maybe
the best you've done.
Well, let's not jinx it here. Come on.
Okay, sorry. Now we're into the hard ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is hard.
Yeah, this is tough.
That's why I put hard up there, upper left.
Yeah. Color coded. Yes.
Yeah, this is
green, yellow,
red.
Yeah, you got a stoplight motif going.
We're into the danger zone. The danger drone zone.
It's the highway to the danger zone, just like Kenny Loggins. Yeah.
Which country?
Highway to the danger zone. Sorry.
He had the mullet going, didn't he?
Oh, Kenny Loggins, Kenny Loggins. Great. Yeah.
Which country?
He's all right. Yeah.
There was going to worry about him at least.
Yeah.
Which country, besides the U.S., has seen a high number of unidentified drone incursions? And the thing I didn't put here is recently. Right.
Yeah. Along with the Jersey drone.
With the Jersey drones. Right.
Gotcha,
which of course is spilled outside of Jersey. We haven't really touched on the information coming out, but I have a nephew who lives in suburban North Philadelphia, and he's seen them around his place.
The Fresh Prince?
No, he is not the Fresh Prince.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
Yeah.
Uncle Phil? No, he's in Bel Air. So, okay. Never mind.
I'm woefully bad in pop culture references for large chunks of my life. So I can't.
Oh, okay. Well, that's all right. It's all good.
But the possible countries: A, Canada; B, Brazil; C, Israel; or D, Vatican City, which is actually a country.
Right, it's its own country, which is amazing, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, and that's the city. That's going to throw you off.
Yeah. No, I was aware of that being a country. Yeah.
Sorry, I shouldn't have jumped ahead. I should have let you go ahead and wanna.
Oh, that's okay. This is a tough one. Because I mean, all of them are plausible.
If it's a hint, this one really surprised me because I've heard zip in any of the news, the recent news, or even just as we've discussed, watching some relatively diverse UFO or UAP type shows, listening to podcasts and whatnot, I'd never heard this country referenced.
Really? Okay. So the obvious one to me, I'll give you a little, is Brazil, because the South Americans love UFOs.
Yep.
They love them. And
Yep.
there is a bazillion stories about UFOs in South America.
Mm-hmm.
From Mexico all the way down to Chile.
Yep. Well, there's
that's to me, that's the obvious one.
Many believe the offshore underwater alien bases are down there off the coast.
Right, exactly.
South America.
And then Israel, I mean, everything's going on. There's a lot of things zipping about in the sky. Easily could be that as well, with all the conflicts and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Two high ones. Vatican City, again, you know, you've got the whole biblical nature of things happening there in Vatican City. The Pope goes out on the veranda. Oh, what's that? You know,
the drones swarm around.
The drones are swarming, right? Yeah, the Swiss Guard are all alerted and out, you know, trying to stop this thing. Yeah, they're throwing nets at them, you know, because, you know, they got their own army, Swiss Guard.
They got the delivering communion to the masses.
Right, exactly.
But those would be identified drones, right? So these are unidentified drones.
Yeah, unidentified. Yeah. Well, if anytime here lately, I mean, the New Jersey drone thing is really going to bring people's awareness up to identify these things. I think this is going to be, from this point forward, there's not going to be as much misidentification. So, but my answer is going to be Canada.
Ooh, it's actually Israel.
Really? Well, see, Israel, I think of that as, you know, just part of the war.
Yeah, well, I think they have a pretty good idea about what's coming because they're pretty keen on the technology available to the folks that they're fighting and their own. So the fact that there are these, you know, some of the characteristics of the drones that have been seen over New Jersey are hard to track. They can't get them on radar. When they come close to them, they go dark. They're kind of exhibiting characteristics.
I haven't read about this. Okay.
Yeah, they're exhibiting some characteristics that are not typical. Now, that doesn't mean there's not some sort of advanced technology that we, you know, speaking of, you know, Boeing, Lockheed, have available to us. And this gets back to where we are really out there trying to see what's going on with the orbs with our own sort of classified technology. And that's why we can confidently say, well, we know they're not a threat. we don't, they're not.
They don't know that.
They're just,
they just say that for everything.
Right, because you don't want to say, we don't know what they are and we're worried. But yeah,
I'm Israel, a younger brother. My brother was always a threat. Constant threat. Because I'm the younger brother, and so you can't, you know, even if my parents would say, oh, he's not going to hurt you. Oh, yes, he was. It was a threat.
But yeah, Israel supposedly, amidst the drones that are coming in from their adversaries and their own, there's a certain number that are sort of exhibiting similar characteristics.
Now, the funny thing is, what if it's all U.S. and they're just not copping to it? You know what I'm saying? Because it would make total sense for the U.S. to not only have things going over New Jersey for obvious reasons. I mean, it's New Jersey, for Christ's sake, and Israel for obvious reasons because of all the conflicts.
Yeah, it's hard for my personality doesn't want to form any theories because I want to keep everything open until I have data. But I will just as easily argue against somebody who comes in and claims that they know the answer, because just like with anything else, it's like until you really know, you don't know, and you can't rule something out just because it's not been proven. So, but I think there's certainly a very high degree of possibility that this is advanced technology that we or somebody has access to that no one's aware of right now. And why would you just reveal it if you're using it for an important reason that you don't necessarily want to tell anybody about? This is why, if we're going to get into the fun theory side of things, us trying to fly and sort of see what the heck those orbs are doing out there that other people are also seeing in addition to drones, that seems to be pretty darn plausible in terms of staying in the woo-woo sphere.
The woo-woo. Yeah, exactly. Cool.
Yeah. So
I
yeah,
like it.
Israel.
I'm impressed. I did not know that. So this is
Yeah,
new
so
information for me.
I'm learning about drones. We're learning about unidentified drone activity around the world.
There you go. I'm plotting this on my map.
We're sharing.
Israel,
Referencing info
Nebraska,
provided.
Colorado, New Jersey, and Israel. Okay. What do
We
these
gotta
things
get-
have in common?
I need a bigger map.
Well, Nebraska, one of the world's richest men,
Who's that?
Warren Buffett,
Oh, he lives in Nebraska. I did not know.
Omaha. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep.
I did not know that.
Yeah. There's a fantastic documentary about him. I can't remember. I think it's just called Buffett, but you can go on the streaming services and find it. He's a interesting fella.
I would imagine he is.
But he probably would be the first person to tell you he's not a genius. Because he's not. He says investment is simple. You want to find things that are, he has criteria, and he'll tell you what his criteria are for his investments. And he's gotten, he's called it right over these years. And so he's not a genius. He's like, it's very simple. And here's what I do.
So as a chronic overthinker, and I will not claim that it's because of necessarily a superior intelligence, I can relate to that, because when you start bringing in too many factors, it starts clouding the reasoning process.
Mm-hmm.
And someone that can just kind of cut through all that and just make decisions and be consistent, I think I can see that being a successful strategy.
His initial interest was compound interest, right? So you make money on making money.
Mm-hmm.
And at a certain point, because he's a very wealthy man, when you have millions of dollars, the interest on millions of dollars is a lot.
Yep.
And he's been alive long enough and applied all his money in that manner to where he has billions of dollars, and then interest on billions of dollars is millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Yes, that would be the ideal state.
Yeah.
To be in a situation. Anyway, we're really off-roading on our drone topic.
Well, we have another one here.
We do. We have another hard question.
Oh gosh.
On the
Okay.
screen. Ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Right. Referencing information provided by a supposed government whistleblower on 4chan, these drones are manufactured by aliens beneath the surface of the Atlantic Ocean, reverse engineered alien technology, U.S. military psyops on civilians, or D, a sneak peek at the 2026 lineup of automobiles from Ford and Chevy.
Now, if you would have said from like Honda and Toyota, I'd be a little more believable for that last one for D. These are all good. The thing that throws me, because I don't know the correct answer to this, I'm guessing, given the criteria, 4chan is what throws me, because 4chan, they can go, either way, right? They could go psyops and they could go reversed engineered.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to go on a limb. This is not my initial gut reaction, but I'm going to go with C, U.S. military psyops on civilians.
That is definitely a theory that is thrown out often within the feeds that I read. However, this particular heavily referenced whistleblower.
I should have known. 4chan, they totally go to the far end there.
Well, those are the ones that get the attention, right?
Yeah,
so,
that's true. I should think about the hits. That's why 4chan is so popular, and I'm not.
The ones
Thank you.
That rise to the top. But yeah, according to him, these are custom. They're the air. So he was supposedly on this crash retrieval team. He would be called in once the first responders were done, and he would go salvage the technology that was left after the whoever was in the craft had been removed, and they would start pulling this stuff out and bringing it back to wherever they kept it.
He's not the A team. He's the B team, right?
He's the B team, but he's pretty well in there. He was actually, if you believe, again, what's being said, everything reported from my sources are, of course, with that big asterisk. That doesn't say necessarily check with your doctor to see if it's right for you. It does say take this with a grain of salt because it's from anonymous sources on known to contain some pretty extreme theory platforms. but he says that they are the drones are essentially. He described it as you've got a job to do. If there's this alien base that he believes, and again, he's building theories based on what he's experienced over the years that he'd been there. But he was diagnosed with liver cancer, so he had a limited time to live, and he went into 4chan and sort of.
They always got cancer of some kind, don't they?
Well, it makes sense. In some ways, they don't have to worry about the government taking him out if he decides to figure out who he is. But anyway, yeah, there's supposedly an offshore alien base that he believes is driven by AI that sort of is sending drones out for various reasons, and this has been happening throughout his entire career as he's been doing this job. And
interesting.
He described that. Think about the shape of these drones are kind of like just putting the skin over the necessary equipment, right? So it's not like us where we roll these all off an assembly line. They look the same. We need something to go pull some minerals out of the mountains in Colorado. Okay, let's get the old underwater alien conveyor belt fired up. And the very last step is to sort of put that skin over it and send it out into over whomever's country to go do what it needs to do. So, but yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. And there's a lot of people who keep on referencing this fella, what's going on in New Jersey. And he started posting in 2019. I actually went and I read everything that he posted, and there's a continuation. And there's a lot of similarities to what's being reported right now. Now, of course, that might mean that people who are reporting this have had previous access to this information, and they're kind of seeing what they want to see. But I thought that was pretty interesting.
Well, I think this is a good time for my last personal story, because it has to do with aliens. And no, I don't know if it's aliens in the Atlantic Ocean. No, so I have seen a UFO.
I have heard roughly this story. Do tell.
I haven't told you the whole story, I don't think.
No, well, I was.
There's not much to it, but yeah.
Perusing your podcast library, I did happen to run across this.
Yeah. So we'll give you the Reader's Digest version here. So, and this is a daytime sighting. This is about 4:00 in the afternoon in May. Nice. So it stays light until 6:30 or so in May here in these parts. So it's not like dusk. It's not dark. It's light. And it's been many years ago. It's been almost 20 years ago. It'll be 20 years ago coming up in May is when this happened, 2005.
Do you celebrate? Do you have any kind of celebration?
No.
No.
I was thinking about it today in preparation for this, and I'm like, oh, it's been about 20 years.
Silvery cupcakes.
So I want to have a little cupcake with the picture. So I lived in a different house, and I lived closer to the Air Force Base that's in the area. And I was outside with my small children, and I was swinging them on a swing. And my son at the time was interested in planes, and we'd have the Air Force traffic go overhead. And so I would pay attention, and I would say, hey, look, buddy, there's a plane going overhead. I didn't know what kind of plane it was. It's kind of like kids with trucks. You know what I mean? That
was before you had your tracker app, right?
Right. Oh, way before. This is before smartphones, even 2005.
Okay.
And so we're outside. I'm swinging both kids, and I'm watching for planes. I'm, multitasking young parent here, and a couple planes go over or whatever, and I'm kind of scanning the sky, and I look up, and it would seem to me, I'm not a pilot, I'm not trained in any of this, seemed to me at altitude was an orb, completely circular craft flying through the air over me and my children. And it was at whatever 10,000 feet or whatever it is that they fly. That planes fly. So
what color was it?
It looked metallic. It looked silverish.
Yeah.
I made mention you can't tell what airline unless you look at the colors. Couldn't see. There's no windows. Nobody was waving at me.
Logo.
No, I couldn't tell if it had rivets or not. Who knows? All I can tell you is it traveled quickly across the sky. I caught it fairly quickly out of the corner of my eye, in a southeasterly point, and it flew to the northwest, and it went across the sky and over us in probably somewhere around 25 seconds is my guess.
So from
Right.
horizon to horizon, that from what
Yeah.
you could tell.
When I caught it from my eye until
Yeah.
I could not see it.
Uh-huh.
And so I saw the front of it and I saw the back of it.
No
And
windshield, no tail light.
no glinting glass or anything like that. It just looked like a metal ball.
Silver sphere.
Yeah, a sphere, exactly, flying through the air. I saw it go behind clouds and in front of clouds. So it was a three-dimensional kind of object.
Safe to say cloud height then.
Yeah, it was in the clouds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And boop, boop, and went and gone.
That the noise it made? Boop,
No,
boop?
no noise.
Oh.
Couldn't hear it. But I couldn't hear the noise of the planes either, to be honest with you. So
Okay. Right.
at that altitude, you can't really, you just kind of see them. And so, yeah, went across, and I was just dumbfounded. And we did a whole show. I did a show with Miles talking about it. Everyone told me I was crazy. And he told me
just
I was
like
crazy.
your wolf sighting, right?
Yeah, just like my wolf. No one believes me.
Uh-huh.
And so, yeah, goes over, and I'm just dumbfounded. He's like, "Why didn't you take a picture?" I'm like, literally, I was still swinging children. And this is in the day of the Nokia candy bar phone.
Yeah.
So those things didn't have good pictures anyway. But so it couldn't.
So
I didn't
always
even have
carry a sketchbook and a pencil.
Well, so I didn't even believe it. I watched it. It happened. I'm like, I noted it. And he's like, "Well, did your kids see it?" I'm like, "Kids were little tiny children. I didn't even say anything to them." And
who's coming at you with this debunkers? You should have called me.
well, I didn't know who you were at the time.
I guess that's the problem. Yeah.
2005. And so then, but I noted it, right? And so I'm like, okay, I saw something weird that's not normal, and I kept it in my head, and I talked about it with Miles and everything. But these are still early days of the internet. I looked up online. This is 2005 is like early Google at this point. And so I probably didn't even use Google. I probably used Excite, because I used to use Excite all the time. But anyway, there was a thing called, it's not there anymore, unfortunately, UFOmaps.com. And I was looking, I found this site, UFO Maps, and I found a person in a neighboring town who had the sighting on the same day of the same thing at the same time.
Validation. Nice.
And yeah, and so I'm like, I saw it.
That's
so
pretty
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, wait, I can you play that music now. Except he didn't see it. It was the same son who saw the ghost thing, but he was really tiny then. So
yeah, well, maybe that's what started the whole thing. That's what.
So yeah, but the thing is it was a sphere. And now I talk about this, and other thing people say, "Oh, well, you have all these orbs, you have all these now drones and what have you." In 2005, I could not find very much information on spherical UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
But now, everywhere.
Yeah, one of the very first things that kicked off this whole drone, and even though it's not necessarily related, but what was it? Some of our U.S. military bases in the UK, I think, there was some video supposedly taken by a pilot of a circular orb or sphere. Most spheres are circular, just sitting on the runway near the plane. And we didn't get into all the time that these things are spending around the nuclear facilities in the various countries either, but we're running short on time here. Shall we rocket into the next question and put a bookmark on a UAP episode one of these days?
Well, whatever you want to do, you tell me.
Okay, we'll figure it out after we get past this question here. I think this is the last one, given the slide number. Some believe these drones indicate that disclosure is coming soon. What does disclosure mean? A, world governments confirm contact with non-human intelligence, provide supporting evidence, and express their intent to be transparent in the future. B, the deep state reveals itself and officially seizes control of the U.S. government. C, the U.S. government reveals secret and significantly advanced technology, or D, the Vatican reveals that Dick Van Dyke is the Antichrist.
Well, we've eliminated Jimmy Carter, so Van Dyke is
He is
next
no
up.
longer a threat.
Yeah, and he's almost 100. He'll be 100 this year, right? Van Dyke will be. So
He is up there. I think I'm
Yeah.
going to guess he's closer to mid-90s, but I could be wrong.
no, I think he's going to be 100 this year.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
I think he was just on The Masked Singer last season. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe D is the right answer.
Maybe D is the right answer.
No, I think what you're probably it'd be A. I'm guessing A is the one. Yeah.
A is the one. You won the quiz. You have got the hardest question with the most number of words. As the answer.
Is the word count? Is that matter?
The word count of the answers means it's even worth more points.
Oh, good. Thank you. I'll take it. I'll take any advantage I can have.
Yeah. So you've come back. You've certainly made your way back into respectability.
Oh, from last week. Yeah.
From last
Abysmal
week,
performance.
yeah.
Well, whenever it was more than a week ago, but Thunderbird. Thunderbird.
The Thunderbird.
Yeah, no. And there's so much, so much happening with this.
Yeah. Yeah. Lots of good stuff.
Exactly.
All right.
So we're gonna call it for a call tonight.
Yeah, well, I've got time to go a little bit longer, but I know that you might have something else going on. I don't want to keep you past the top of the hour, so your call.
I think we need to do a part 2.
We may have to do a part 2. Yeah, we can dive into some of the specific information and maybe nix the quiz so we can get into some of the theories and discussions around those.
So let's do that. And say stay tuned for part 2 coming to your screens in the next couple of weeks or so.
Jersey Drone Show 2.0.
Yeah, exactly. Till next time, folks, remember Your Most Interesting Story podcast on YouTube, and Rob at Your Most Interesting Story.
Got to get your spherical UFO story on there.
It's not much more than what I told you, unfortunately. But you can see there in the new logo, he's replaced his microphone with a book.
Good eye. Very impressive.
I wish I could say that I didn't notice it, but it's not my own noticing.
You saw the Instagram post.
Yeah, I saw some other stuff. Yeah. That helped me a little bit. Well, actually, I saw something that helped me look, and then I was right. How's that?
There you go. Yep, no,
otherwise,
good.
I wouldn't have even paid attention.
You're one of a handful of people in this world that even know or care.
And remember, it's all just a theory. Don't panic.
And keep your eyes to the sky.
Oh, and keep your eye to the sky.
Till
next time, folks. This is Bob.
And this is Rob.
And we'll talk more about Jersey Drone Show.